Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me.
That's right! You're always blaming me! So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list.
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? It is All in Football, and as you heard, it's a brand new intro. If you weren't here yesterday, Lauren was shocked. I wish, so we have the overlay. I wish there's live video. You could see me over here because I'm just jamming out to Mega Man, and it's just the best thing ever every single day. You're a little shocked, Lauren?
You should have seen my face. I was like, did Fox do the wrong intro? And I was getting worried. No, and I like at the end
brand
of it
new.
too. It's burn. I was like, yes, I love this.
Yes,
my reputation.
Brand new intro. It's brand new season, so yeah, fresh out there because hey, right. Thank you. I worked on that over the weekend. So, in case you don't know what you're turning into, it is All in Football on FTN Fantasy. Make sure if you go over to FTN, Lauren and Meanie and all the stuff over there, you can use code ALLIN, get 20% off. Go to The Athletic for the waivers column, which is out, which if you guys are brand new, we're going to kind of run through the top level stuff from it, including the Worry Report is back. We get to hand out ducks and eggs, as Lauren added the eggs last year. So there's a part of the Dumpsville and all that kind of stuff. And I remind everybody how to enter the Xbox giveaway contest. That's right. FTN, myself, we're giving out Xbox Series X for everybody. It is sitting over there. It's already in the house. This isn't I hope to get one because they're still it's sitting over there, ready to be shipped out. I've seen some people tweet. That is the wrong way to do it. I've already lost it to I'm not trying to be haha, I have so many followers, I don't see all the big tweets. I saw it come through in the middle of doing other stuff, and I legitimately went to go look for the person who tweeted the entry, and I couldn't find it. So
you need to listen to him, everybody, because Jake and I are friends. And he doesn't even answer my tweets. I have to text him to get his attention.
It's not me. I don't know. This isn't haha, because I'm not Matthew Berry with 1 million followers. I'm not even the footballers with 300,000 or whatever they have. I don't know if Twitter at some point is just we're not going to show you all of your tweets that are at you because I don't have filters on. I don't have the filters for low-level tweets you don't get to see or whatever. But I legitimately sometimes don't see. I have. For everybody out here, I have the Tweetbot app and I use Twitter both, and I'll see different tweets on them. They don't always come through. So it's not on purpose. I'm not ignoring people. But anyway, it is waivers day. Lauren, real quick before we get to waivers day, how'd you do in week one?
I did all right, actually, despite the hot mess that week one always is. But I feel like this was an extra hot mess. Lots of revenge narratives.
What hot mess would you be talking about? Could it be the T-shirt that is both represented in the one that you got and, in a way, the one that I have? And over here? And it was a band kickers bonanza. Everybody's acting like it's the best week ever, Jake. No, it's another great week. Do you remember last year where it was 7,000 missed kicks that one week?
That was so bad.
It was so great. Survivor was destroyed in week one this week. I've never seen over 50% of survivors knocked out already.
Yeah, annihilated. I mean, there were so many things that could have gone extremely well that went exceedingly bad. And it all started off with that Thursday night game, with a bunch of big, weird duds. And I know a lot of people have questions, and but that's what we're here for.
That's what we are here for. And to say this again, we say it every year. It's already in the waiver column. It's 1 week. Don't overreact. Additionally, the past 2 or 3 years, week one has essentially turned into a pseudo preseason game, as we've seen. There's teams that didn't play their starters at all, not one lick of the preseason, and you saw some rust being shaken off. We saw games where, last night, I don't think that's the Broncos we expect going forward. For the fact that Geno's offense cooked more than Russ's offense.
That was insane. That was literally, Russell Wilson did not target a wide receiver until well into the second quarter. I mean, 3/4 of the way in, It was absolutely nuts. And then the Seahawks and Geno Smith. Hi. Totally wrote you off, my friend. I'm not going to lie. But they didn't even punt until the fourth quarter. Like, what happened? It's crazy.
The Giants are out there winning games. Seahawks out there winning. Like, these are supposed to be top 5 in the draft picks. And, like, this, the Dallas Cowboys are the only team in the NFC East without a win right now. Like, this is just. How about we have division leading ties in the AFC South right now? This is just.
Two overtime games in the Eastern time 1:00 p.m. slates, and I think Andrew Siciliano threw out. I actually mentioned this on Sirius, but I was wrong because I forgot that only one of them.
Siciliano, you called him Siciliano.
I don't know. I make things up as I go. Like snipering, that's now my word too. So deal with it. I just that's what I do. I like to make things up. Andrew Siciliano, who I absolutely adore.
There you go.
If two teams would have tied, that's what we were looking at. We were looking at 2 different games that were in a tie, in overtime, and it looked bleak. I think it would have been the first time that 2 teams have tied in week 1 since 1974. It was crazy. Like, gross.
Wow. That is gross. You know what else is gross? How is that for a transition? Elijah Mitchell's already done. Elijah Mitchell time.
I think we cursed him. I think the curse is back.
And he looked good until he got hurt. Even in that weather, he was looking fine. And then what is Elijah Mitchell but done for 8 weeks? He's already put on their official list where he cannot return for the 8 weeks. So he done. Chance he could get back in the mix depending on what happens between now and then. But for all intents and purposes, we're moving on because what happens with Shanahanigans, as I mentioned this preseason, we talked about it, Lauren. Shanahanigans usually happens with an injury, which was why we were sitting here saying the door had been open because Mitchell wasn't playing till week 1. And the door was, nobody really went through it until this point. Jeff Wilson got all the work. Jordan Mason was active, didn't see a lick. There's talk that Jordan Mason more active because of the involvement in the special teams. And there's some love for Davis Price. This actually even coming from the Athletic Matt Barrows, who said that Davis Price is more of the running back style and fit as in build for this team, but he was inactive. So right now, it's the easy answer is right now is Jeff Wilson.
Yep.
But 2 questions is, do you drop somebody like a week 1 potential bust situation? Like, how about this? A Michael Gallup who hasn't played yet is coming back to no Dak Prescott to go get Jeff Wilson, who could be a clear top 15 running. I see you're waving your hand. No, waving. Goodbye, Michael Gallup. Top 15 running back the rest of the way. But the second part of the question that I want to ask you, if you miss on Wilson or Wilson's already rostered, which he should have been if you listened to us last week and read the waiver column, do you go Davis Price or do you go Mason?
Oh, that's such a tough. I mean, we didn't see either of them. I mean, we did see sort of Mason, but we did not see Davis Price. That is a really good question. I think depending on how your league scores, I'm in a league where actually special team involvement, especially like punt returning and things like that, they do count. I don't know. I think I might go Davis Price on this one.
Yeah, I have Mason and Davis Price back to back.
I mean, literally, they are back to back.
Yeah, if you have the depth, I would get both of them. I know a lot of people don't have that luxury. I lean right now just because even when Barrows talked about him, he said that Davis Price is more long-term. He's just not ready yet.
Right.
So I slightly lean Mason only because, again, he was active and they already, again, well, and the whole talk about Warren, which we'll talk about here in a second, for that talk by Mark Bowley was saying because he can be used on special teams, he might see snaps immediately. So I'm with you. If I'm thinking ceiling, it's Davis Price, but either way, go get Wilson. Do whatever you have to do to get Wilson. I already saw some people ask about Fab. You and I talked about this before the show. I don't include Fab in my column. I haven't for years because it's always relative. You know your league spending, $100, $200 budgets, $1,000 budgets, but also you know your spending. I said it to Lauren. I'm in 2 different leagues. Well, I'm in multiple leagues, but I could think off the top of my head. I have 2 different leagues where I know Jeff Wilson would go for 70, and then the other he'll go for 30 because I know those leagues and I know how they spend. And that's the problem. And also, it's relative to what you need. If you're in a situation where you lost Elijah Mitchell, and now your second running back is Kenyon Drake, you're going to have to go 70 anyway, even if your league only spends 30. Like you're good. So it's always relative. We'll do our best to help, but it's very possible. And
relative to team needs, for sure.
And I think you'll agree with this, Lauren. Because of the risk of Shanahanigans, if you can trade Jeff Wilson for top 20 running back return value, doesn't mean you get another running back. It means that's the value you get in a trade. You'd immediately offload him, wouldn't you?
I think I would. I think I would. I don't know if his I don't know if his value is as high as what it can be, though. I would say give it maybe a week or two and then let him get some points under and let people see the volume. And then I think you'd be able to get even a higher return on your investment on that one. But yeah, I don't hate that idea at all.
Okay. So Najee Harris said he's playing in week 2. And I saw the comment, by the way. First of all, Dak Prescott back in 4 weeks. That's not Dak. That's not doctors. That's the team and Jerry Jones. Dude's not coming back in 4 weeks. Get the bleeping hell out of here.
No. He's probably not going to be back until November 13th.
It's a freaking plate in his hand. Even if he came back in 4 weeks. Yeah, if he came back in 4 weeks, you don't want him to come back in 4 weeks. He's going to torpedo that team if he does. He probably would be worse than Cooper Rush, honestly, at quarterback. So you just said, you know what? Real quick. Let's just talk about that real quick because I know it's not pure waivers, but this kind of ties into worries a little bit. Everybody's panicking about CeeDee Lamb right now because CeeDee Lamb had a quiet game 1, but 2, now he has Cooper Rush. Mm-hmm. So CeeDee Lamb going forward, is he still a wide receiver 1 for you? Is he a wide receiver 2? Is he in the Amari Cooper wide receiver 3? Who the hell knows range?
You took the words right out of my mouth with the Amari Cooper range here. So I put out a column. I can't even remember when. I think it was yesterday. It was actually a video. No, I lied. It was a video. I'd offload him. I would offload CeeDee Lamb, get as much as you can for his name value. It sucks. But, I mean, if he does have good games, when are you going to be able to guess when those games are going to be? But we said it from the very beginning in the offseason here. It's going to be Dalton Schultz. I mean, Cooper Rush is going to be looking for him. It's going to be the run game with Pollard and Elliott. So, yeah, I'm moving on from CeeDee Lamb, and I'm going to have to, take an L when it comes to what I trade him away for. But at least I can get something that's viable, that's going to have a little bit better opportunity, a little bit more of a guarantee. I hate the G word in fantasy football because nothing is guaranteed. But, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm out. I don't want the headache. I'd rather take a loss on a trade than deal with the headache.
Well, here, I'll give you one. I'll give you a toss-up right now because this player has somebody potentially coming into the fold in 6 to 8 weeks that could screw up his value, which is about the time that Dak might be back. So would you take right now, not just a trade, just right now, who would you take going forward? CeeDee Lamb or you finally like the Lions. So would you take Chark or would you take CeeDee Lamb?
I'll take Chark.
Gosh,
and it's gross.
Painful.
It's gross. When you
so
look at
painful.
it on paper, it seems disgusting. It seems like that's not even right. But on paper is not what reality that we have right now. Unless Cooper Rush has somehow found his fairy godmother and has turned into the Cinderella story of the century. I don't know if I buy that. But no, I would rather have a Chark.
I tell you what, the paper, a lot of them got shredded in week 1 if you was on paper.
They certainly did.
The shredder was out in full force. Oh, wait, I actually have shredder around here. There's shredder. There's 8-bit shredder. There you go.
Oh, there you
shredder.
Go. Oh, shredder I like that.
Shredder was dominating week 1. There you go.
Oh, is he off side of my screen, everyone? I will do that sometime soon.
To get more?
Bare. Yeah, it's so bare.
Oh, Mr. Nice Guy. Christian Kirk over CeeDee Lamb all day long.
All day long.
And twice on Sunday. And then 3 times on Monday.
If that's possible, then I would do it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. By the way, 2 Monday Night Football games. The doubleheader is week 2 for everybody that didn't pay attention.
We don't need this yet. We do not need this yet, NFL. I saw that promo because I had totally forgotten about it. And I'm like, wait, because I was thinking it's going to be late September, early October, mid-October. No, next week. It's like, oh, wow. Okay, that's quick. Fun.
So, fun. We'll go back to that. Najee Harris is supposed to be out there for week 2. So, we still don't have Jaylen Warren. But we're sitting in the situation, as we did in the preseason, of the fact of we know what Jaylen Warren could be ceiling-wise. Yes, he could get out there with the workload and bomb. But he's with Mike Tomlin. He's with the Steelers. He is the number 2, which means you're getting the bell cow work. This is very similar to the 49ers, where the next man up. But at least in this situation, it's not the Shanahan-defined roles as in, Elijah Mitchell runs the ball, you catch the ball. And, this is, you get 80% of the work if you're the guy. How aggressive would you be going for Jaylen Warren knowing that Najee Harris is back? This is now 2 injury scares within the span of a month.
I am very worried about Najee Harris's volume. I'm actually quite aggressive with it. In fact, he is my number 2 waiver wire pickup behind Jeff Wilson.
If James Robinson is out there, where would he rank against Wilson?
Oh, if he's out there, then if James Robinson is out there, I would say I put him ahead of Elijah Mitchell. But again, if you're the Elijah Mitchell manager, Yes, Jeff Wilson. I can't with my life. Yes. Okay. If you are the Elijah Mitchell manager, then Jeff Wilson should be your priority number one, because you have to be able to fill in some of that higher draft capital that you lost with Elijah Mitchell. That's a huge problem. If you are not, and you're looking to sniper the Elijah Mitchell manager, I would stay away from that, and I would go towards
that makes
James
a lot of
Robinson
sense.
here,
because you're looking for the potential top 15.
Yes, and I would go James Robinson, but that's very dependent on the situation. There, I was situationally dependent. I don't know if that's actually a phrase, but I'll use it because I don't care. Yeah, so that's a toss up for me. It's just going to depend on what your stitch is.
Dependuational.
I'm making a shirt with that.
Dependuational? Okay, we'll see. Let's work on that shirt.
It's like tiny itty bitty little letters.
Let's skip the waivers real quick. Or worries. Because skip the waivers. This is what the show is.
So let's skip the show's waivers, but you do
worries real quick, because I want to brain check me here, because Meanie was similarly on the same page as me yesterday with the Cam Akers situation. And the reason I wanted to go to that real quick is because James Robinson. Not only James Robinson, Sterling Shepard. Both of them in week one were like, what's an Achilles? We don't care. James Robinson, not a year removed. Sterling Shepard, even less time removed. And both came back and looked like they hadn't missed a beat. And I know people out for Sterling Shepard. Okay, yeah, he's on that same Elijah Mitchell. He's probably going to get hurt at some point too, unfortunately. Arguably the best wide receiver for the Giants. Arguably, how long is it going to take until he gets hurt? That being said, I bring them into this conversation because this is what I said to Meanie yesterday. They looked so good that we might be in the world now where ACLs, MCLs aren't the death knell anymore, and now it's Achilles aren't the death knell anymore. We finally reached that point in medical technology where this isn't the end of careers. The Cam Akers thing was a soft tissue injury in the doghouse before the game, because we heard those comments from Sean McVay, but that was the whole missed block. I'm rephrasing everything from yesterday. The missed block was after he already wasn't getting touches. So he was already in the doghouse before that happened. So I think it's the doghouse and soft tissue injury. So I gave Cam Akers 3.5 ducks yesterday. How many would you give Cam Akers?
I'm right there. I think I actually might be a little bit less than that. My season-long worry is going to be about a 2. For the next couple weeks, it might be at the 3 and an egg situation.
Okay.
I think he'll be okay. I think you should hang on to him. It just stinks. But again, soft tissue injuries. It's if he's not producing on the field, why would Sean McVay leave him out there? Why aggravate an injury that is already lingering, that he's already dealing with when he's not playing well anyway? Let him rest. I'm not as concerned, I think, as some other people are.
Well, I even said to Meanie yesterday, I thought it was impressive for that pass behind, which ended up turning to be a lateral because it was so far behind the line of scrimmage. That fact that Akers got back to the line of scrimmage on that play, I thought was actually pretty impressive, that being said. But I wanted to tie them into the worry report because I think we have to include Stafford and Allen Robinson. And the reason I gave Akers 3.5 is because, interestingly, I'm with you. I'm with you on 2 for Akers. The extra 1.5 is the 1.5 I gave Stafford and Allen Robinson because that offensive line looks god awful. They lost their center, and now Noteboom is questionable for week 2 already. And not like Noteboom's world beater at his position, but Matthew Stafford. If everybody watched the Giants game, the first half, it was Daniel Jones snapped the ball and the Titans defender was in his face. And they actually gelled within the game. They looked much better in the second half.
Yep.
Credit coaching staff, whatever. Unlike that, the Rams were snap the ball defenders in his face. It was the Bills defense, which is one of the best in the league, as we know, but it still was Stafford was getting knocked around. Does the 1.5 for Stafford and Allen Robinson, or would you give them more?
I would give Matthew Stafford more. I'm looking at 2 and an egg. I mean, maybe that's even hatching 2 or 3. Here's why. It's because he looked incredibly inaccurate. I don't know if this was the Super Bowl hangover. I don't know if this was a lack of coaching adjustment at halftime, but there was something that was fundamentally not connecting between his receivers and himself. He looked like a deer in the headlights. When the pressure, you have easy dump-off opportunities here, Stafford. You don't need to be winging it downfield and forcing it down Allen Robinson's throat. Luckily, Cooper Kupp is there, who's an absolute freak of nature. Thank you, God, because he helped win a couple of my leagues on Thursday. But I'm concerned with what I saw. However, I don't feel that is the true Matthew Stafford. Am I a little concerned about this elbow situation? A little bit. I just think this was a lot. The big ceremony in the beginning, maybe people are going to write that off. I don't know. I just think there was a lot of pressure there.
Didn't play in the preseason.
It didn't play in the preseason. But yeah, I just think that was bad all around, not just from Stafford. I mean, Henderson was the shining light in that entire game for the Rams. I mean, even the coaching, they were outcoached. I mean, that's PS the end. And I think it's going to get better.
Well, and this is why I tied into I'm not too concerned about Allen Robinson yet, is because I did a column on Allen Robinson. He was a part of a column of like last year's trash. And I said, if you just take wide receiver 2 for the Rams, because at one point it was Robert Woods, who was a top 15 wide receiver before he got hurt. And then at one point it was Van Jefferson, and at one point it's Odell Beckham. I said, so I'm not saying combine all their stats, because you can't combine all that. But I said, if you combine the number 2 wide receiver, so every single game, who was the number 2? So Woods to his point of getting hurt, Jefferson before Beckham was in the mix, and then Beckham for the rest of the way. If you combine that, you get a second wide receiver 1 behind Cooper Kupp. And that's why I was on Allen Robinson. Now, for everybody panicking about Allen Robinson, this is why I'm not that concerned about him. My concern is the offense, not Allen Robinson, because what
Correct.
the Bills did, the Bills with Allen Robinson, if people were watching this game, and I even tweeted about it on Thursday night, Jackson and Hyde were bracketing the living hell out of him. It was, you could watch that game. It wasn't the entire game, but most formations, even when they were running a lot of zone, is they just kept Hyde over top and Jackson on top or underneath. Yep. And it was just, Robinson just was double covered the entire night. And they said, we'll let Cooper Kupp do everything, and only Cooper Kupp can't beat us. And they were right. Cooper Kupp went ham. But you can't have Cooper Kupp being the only, you're not going to win a game. That would be like, hey, you know what? We're going to let Michael Jordan score 60 and keep everybody else to 10. Guess what? You're not winning a basketball game with only 70 points.
Yep, it's true. It's true. And I think they were genius in how they schemed against this offense. I'm also not worried about Allen Robinson either. I'm right there with you. He is very talented. He has a chip on his shoulder. And again, I think Stafford's going to get his act together here. This, to me, this was week 1 weirdness. I do want to keep an eye, though, on Matthew Stafford and his downfield accuracy. That is what really did bother me. Not concerned too much about Cam Akers quite yet. Again, like we were just saying. So, but that was to start the season. Like, the Super Bowl champs come out and just totally flop.
Luckily, those rings are amazing.
Oh my God, they're the size of my head. Like, how can
but they
you
open
carry
up.
That around?
They open up.
Crazy.
Anyway,
mind-blowing.
Complete. You know what else is crazy? Dameon Pierce in week 1. Oof, that was. Yeah. Actually, if I had a balloon, I would have done that. I would have let it go and just. Dameon Pierce, not even 50-50, just out-snapped and outplayed by Rex Burkhead. Not that Dameon Pierce was bad, and there was always speculation that Burkhead would see more of the passing game work. That would probably be like 80-20, but we were expecting everything being said by beat reporters, by the team, by the performance. There was nobody out there covering this team which was saying, sitting here going, oh, Rex Burkhead's going to be the lead. Like, it was going to be 80-20 run game, Pierce, 80-20 passing game, Burkhead. The concern was if you get down by a lot, Pierce gets eliminated from the equation. The problem was he was the lower part of the equation, period. So, I'm not saying get rid of Dameon Pierce. I still think he has long-term value. But if Rex Burkhead, because he is out there on waivers because nobody wanted Rex Burkhead, do we just slip the shoe on and wait for it to fall off at midnight? Like, what do we do? Like, do you go somewhat aggressively on Rex Burkhead and just like, look, I know this is going to go bad at some point, but until then, I'm going to ride. Like, it's basically like getting in a car and seeing it's got like one wheel missing. Like, I know I can get somewhere for a while, but I know it's going to eventually go bad.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't love it, though. And here's the reason why. We want to talk about being outcoached. What was Lovie Smith doing? He literally punted for a tie. Like, why did you do this? So I don't know if this was kind of week 1 jitters that he was trying to get out, or maybe just coaching mismanagement that we won't see again. So I don't really trust the coaching. I don't know what the heck is going on there. So who's to say that week 2, it's not going to be completely flip-flopped, and then we're going to have a Rex Burkhead situation. So if you are in deeper leagues and Rex Burkhead is out there, you can probably get him for pretty cheap. I don't mind it, but it's not something where I think you should aggressively be targeting him, because I do believe that it is going to be Dameon Pierce eventually. How soon that happens, I'm not quite sure, but I don't know. I wouldn't waste a ton of fab on it. I wouldn't just pick him up just because, unless you need a spot start, something along those lines. If you're in a desperate situation, especially in deeper leagues, I don't hate it.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing also at that. Rex Burkhead doesn't even want Rex Burkhead by Nathan. A tie is a win in Houston by Phil Mike. So like some quality comments out there.
I didn't get that at all.
So yeah, I'll ask one more question and then I'll remind everybody about the giveaway. So this next part, I'm going to give you 4 running backs. You tell me who you want the most and who you want no piece of. You could say like, so yeah, there you go. So I put this in the same tier. These running backs in the same tier. Kenyon Drake, who's already the lead. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins is still a question mark. Whoever knows that the hell that's going to happen. Jamal Williams won't go away. Khalil Herbert, look good. And then Kenneth Gainwell is Kenneth Gainwell. So of those 4, who do you want the most? Who do you want the least?
Can I have all of them, please? I would like all of them. I think out of
well, then now you have to rank them if you want all of them.
So this is going to sound a little odd, but the way that I saw the Lions utilize DeAndre Swift, who had an excellent game, by the way, but the way that they utilized Jamal Williams, who had an excellent game, by the way, is this was turning into DeAndre Swift in between the 20s and Jamal Williams at the goal line. And I think that's going to continue. So out of all of them, I think I would go Jamal Williams, I think for longevity, because we're not talking about an injured person who's going to be coming back to completely supplant him. So I'm going to do Jamal Williams. Then I will do Khalil Herbert because at worst, he's going to be a very high-ranking insurance policy for David Montgomery. I'm kind of throwing that game out in the trash. Like running around in a flood is difficult to do. And then who were the other 2? It was Kenyon Drake and who else?
And Kenneth Gainwell.
Yes. Oh, I will take Kenneth Gainwell and then Kenyon Drake.
Okay.
Because Kenneth Gainwell's not going anywhere. He's going to be there too.
Is it just that it's a temporary Band-Aid for Kenyon Drake?
Yes, and that's really the reason why. So I like all 4 of them.
Although, is a Band-Aid ever permanent? As I said that, like I guess every Band-Aid is temporary.
Stitches.
Okay, that's better.
The stitches are also they go away too. I don't even know.
That's also
There's
temporary. We're just being
gotta be an analogy here somewhere. We're just missing it. But yeah, really is because Kenyon Drake's shelf life is
temporary
really
bone screw.
Yes, possibly. Then yeah, until like fuses with the. I don't even know. But yeah, his shelf life is shorter. I think Khalil Herbert because of his usage in the offense with the Bears, just slightly over Kenny Gainwell, and Jamal Williams over all of them because of his usage in the offense, and there's not anyone that's coming in to supplant him eventually. And even though it is a committee, there's goal line work that Jamal Williams is taking over, and he is beloved in the Lions locker room. Beloved. So yeah, I'll take Jamal Williams.
That is true. So here's how you get into the Xbox giveaway. I said it yesterday. Here's the reminder today. And the reason we're doing this is it's twofold. We appreciate everybody out there, but the reason we're making these requirements is because we're trying to get more people to find us. You guys found us. You guys appreciate us. It's just trying to spread the word. So by doing these things, this is how it helps spread the word because it gets more eyes on us. Step 1, very simple. Subscribe on YouTube. Done. Simple. Take a screenshot though. I need screenshots of all 3 of these things. Screenshot that you subscribed on YouTube. Screenshot that you subscribed and reviewed on iTunes. Yes, I'm sorry for iTunes. You can still listen on Spotify, but Spotify doesn't let you leave reviews. That's why, again, trying to get exposure. So, subscribe YouTube, subscribe and review on iTunes, and then just follow the FTN Fantasy account. It's FTN Fantasy. Hopefully you're following Stepmom Lauren and Meanie and myself and Jeff Ratcliffe and everybody like that, but those are the 3 screenshots, and here's the kicker. Do not tweet me, because I might lose it. I might not ever see it. Email me, Ciely, my first letter and then last name, at theathletic.com. Very simple. You can see, oh wait, I doesn't have my last name up there. Never mind. But you can see that on Twitter. So anyway.
It's up here in our banner, right there.
That's it. Yes. Prize is not awarded February 29th, Lee. Is it awarded this month? It is happening before the end of the month. I'll be announcing it on a Wednesday. I'll give you a hint there of what Wednesday it might be. You'll have to stay tuned. And from this group of running backs, Lauren.
Oh, boy.
Rashad White, Jordan Mason, we already talked about, Eno Benjamin, Tyrion Davis-Price, and Raheem Mostert. You can sense a theme with them. Who do you want most out of that group? Mostert. Solidly Mostert. Even though Chase Edmonds is your boy.
I do. I love Chase Edmonds. If I'm rostering Chase Edmonds, you know what? I think I might have him anyway. I think I might pick him up anyway. That's kind of one of those double dips. I don't mind. I don't know if I'd be able to start both of them unless it's a weird matchup. But yeah, Mostert for the mostest. Give me Mostert.
Mostert for the mostest.
Too many question marks for the other ones.
Are there any of those that you wouldn't even waste your time with?
No, because I think there is possibility for upside with those other 3 running backs. But for me, the one that I need now, and that's kind of what I do with my waivers, right? I look at least 1, possibly 3 weeks ahead, especially once we start getting into bye weeks, everybody. So don't forget, once we start getting into those, make sure you're looking ahead a little bit. You may not have team names right this moment, but looking a little bit ahead, you can do that right now. That person for me is going to be Raheem Mostert. I will keep my eye on the other 3. But again, that goes right down the toilet when we're talking about deeper leagues where you may not have a choice but go for these guys.
Of right down the toilet.
Uh-oh.
You like that transition? Dumpsville. Give me any of these guys you want to argue that there's a reason to hold on to them. Because Ronald Jones, game day inactive, see ya. Mike Davis, immediately usurped by Kenyon Drake, see ya. Sony Michel and Joshua Kelly, see ya. They 50-50 timeshared behind Eckler. I don't want either one of them. If Eckler went down, sure. Maybe that's your argument. And then Darrell Williams, who barely saw the field, Eno Benjamin. Now, granted, if James Conner got hurt, Darrell Williams could see some run in a 50-50 split there, too. But that's why they're all in Dumpsville for me, because essentially everybody we've talked about at running back, I want more than those 5.
Yes, agreed. The only one that would give me slight pause is going to be Sony Michel, because I'm not overreacting on this situation on week 1. I'm not going to overreact on this one, but he's in the hot seat. He's in the hot seat right now. But Joshua Kelly, I think, is going to Joshua Kelly like he's done every year, and I think eventually Sony Michel is going to usurp like number 2 role.
He's that like wet paper towel that when you went through the trash away, like hung to the side of the trash,
yeah.
And it's like he hasn't full. You can't like, yeah, that's what Sony Michel is.
That was the most horrible visual that. Good Lord, Jake.
But you knew exactly what I was saying.
I did, and it was gross.
So we have 2 injury situations. If you've been paying attention to waivers, this is why I have the told you so huff emoji in the waiver column, because Tyler Boyd and Joshua Palmer should not have been sitting out there for this very reason. Interestingly enough, the injury with Joshua Palmer wasn't the one that we thought might get hurt. It was Mike Williams.
Right.
Like, that's what we always expect. It's
he
Keenan
still
Allen.
might. Give him some time.
That's true. So Josh Palmer, Tyler Boyd, do you have a preference between those 2? And here's, now I know team construction depends, but if you included the top 2, DJ Chark and Robbie Anderson, who are ahead of them if everybody's healthy, but because those aren't, and those are question marks, Higgins might play. Keenan Allen might play. So I'm going to group all this 4 together, Boyd, Palmer, Chark, and Robbie Anderson. What's your preference in order there?
God, that is so incredibly hard. Okay.
I know.
That is really tough. You know what? I might actually lean Robbie Anderson here. I would go, no, I lied. I'd go Tyler Boyd. Oh my God, I hate this. Because again, like we said, it's situational, right? So what do I think is going to happen over the next, let's say, 2 weeks? Okay. I think, let me rephrase what my answer was. I'm going to go Tyler Boyd. Then I'm going to go Josh Palmer. Then I'm going to go Robbie Anderson and DJ Chark. I think that's what I would go with.
Does it change if you have wide receiver depth? Are you picking up the Robbie Anderson and DJ Chark because you're thinking more than past the next week or 2?
Yes, I do believe so. I also want to hear more about what's going on with Keenan Allen as well. But if he's going to be, trotting out there hurt, that really bothers me. But yes, it is going to depend on how many your wide receiver depth. I'm very needy in wide receiver.
I so highly doubt that he plays. It's a Thursday night, and then you get the extra 10 days.
I'm talking about in like 2 or 3 weeks because hammies don't go away.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about this next group as a whole. Again, do the same thing we did at running back. And that's just why I like to break it down for everybody out there, because as you can see, this is part of the reason Fabs just throw them out the window, because not only did we just talk about, like we've already discussed, your league might be different. We just talked about, depending on your situation, these are different Fabs for all these 4 wide receivers. I don't know why I'm doing this. Remember that box that you did in biology to figure out like if you would have blue eyes or whatever it was, or like the
allele charts?
It was like A, B.
There's a name
B,
for it, but yeah, you do
like,
your
it's like a
alleles.
figure, like, you figure out. So anyway, these wide receivers. Jarvis Landry went off in week 1.
Yes, he did.
Although, almost identical snaps and routes run as Chris Olave for everybody out there, just so you know. That's in the waiver column. I include all this kind of stuff with like the snap counts and the routes run because this all matters for the wide receivers. Jahan Dotson showed off and like some John Dotson, hell of a fun. Christian Watson was second to Sammy Watkins in opportunities, despite the fact that he dropped that enormous opportunity at the beginning of the game. Still saw plenty of work after that. Devin Duvernay is clearly the number 2 behind Rashad Bateman. And then Curtis Samuel, spending all the time in the slot, looks like he's back, but he is in the slot in 3rd for Washington. And then Jacoby Myers, who's just Jacoby Myers.
He is Jacoby Myers, man.
Who do you want from that group the most?
The one I want from this group the most is going to be Dotson. Give me Dotson. I am saying no to Curtis Samuel. I'm even saying no to Myers. If you rostered him, that's okay. You don't have to drop him. I have never rostered Myers because I can find Myers on the wire. I know. I love Jacoby Myers too. But what really bothers me is the situation going on with that offense, and what bothers me going on with Mac Jones having back spasms and just nasty things going on with the Patriots offense. So I think I'm going to want to avoid that. Number 1 for me is going to be Dotson. Next is going to be Duvernay. Then I'll take a look at Landry. And then I'll do Watson, Myers, Samuel. Watson would be a little bit higher for me. Okay. Mostly because that Sammy Watkins. Right there. I know. It was no Sammy Watkins usage essentially for like performance-wise. Without Alan Lazard. I can see that. Two rookies, and you couldn't get it. And it was week 1, Sammy. This is your house. Week 1 is like where you live, and you still didn't do it. No, with all this opportunity, just like sitting in front of you. I think Watson real quick scares me with Lazard coming back, with Randall Cobb still there, with Robert Tonyan still there. So that's why I think I'm going to keep him where I have him. This wasn't in the worry report, but the usage of A.J. Dillon, do you have any concerns for Aaron Jones? Because this is coming from somebody that downplays Aaron Jones every single year, and everybody always gets mad at me because then he scores 12 touchdowns on 1,000 yards. So people are like, ha, 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 ha. I'm like, I don't like the use. But oh, no, I'm right with you. I've been saying this all offseason. Completely skip over Aaron Jones, go somewhere else, and target A.J. Dillon. So this did not surprise me. Ergo, I'm not worried because I expected this to happen. Ergo. I think he will be involved a little bit more in the passing game, just like we were talking about. The Packers usually start off pretty slowly. And Aaron Rodgers, not only was he not in preseason, he wasn't even around. He was doing drugs somewhere, or whatever, ayahuasca, whatever, yada. I guess it doesn't count. Whatever. They need a few weeks to kind of get their stuff together. But Aaron Jones is going to be okay because he's going to be more involved in the passing game. But A.J. Dillon is going to be the workhorse, bell cow, line of scrimmage, bruising running back. And I think that's what most of us saw heading into this season. Aaron Jones' medicinal work is like the Bill Belichick of playbooks. Like, he's figured out the way to get around the stuff in the NFL with the medicinal help. And Bill Belichick's over there. But by the way, too many cooks in the kitchen. That's clearly going so well for that offense. It's terrible. That's why I'm staying away from Myers. Well, no. So I'm bringing him into it. We're going to come back to wide receivers in a second since we're talking Patriots. The worry report. So one of the things I said in the worry report is saying, like, I try to present the worries for people who were fans of players. So you know this. Anybody who's watching the show or is listening to, like, I was always sitting here like, I want Dameon Harris, I want Dameon Harris, I want Dameon Harris. Why are you guys doing the Stevenson thing? Like, why? Oh, he's going to get all the passing game work. It's going to be a 50-50 split. He's better. He's more explosive. I was like, look at what happened last year. Stevenson need more touches in his 2 amazing games. You're rose-color glassing what he did last year, which I made a term. I want Dameon Harris. Yes, he's touchdown reliant, but of this split, whose workload do I know? I wasn't expecting it to even go that sideways, but it went super sideways. He was the back half of the rushing timeshare, and he was the back half of the passing timeshare because of Ty Montgomery. Is Stevenson, after 1 week, done for fantasy lineups? You're not dropping him yet, but there's no way you can start him in week 2, right? Yeah, who are the Patriots playing in week 2? It doesn't matter who they're. I haven't checked the schedule yet. Well, that's the thing because at Pittsburgh. Okay. At Pittsburgh. Oh, ouch. Oh, I don't know if I would. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that one. So when you drafted Ramondre Stevenson, you likely took him maybe around behind Dameon Harris. Maybe even you went the other way. You went around above Dameon Harris. Either way. Yeah, the end of August, he was going in front of him. That's true. I drafted earlier than that. So whatever. I think you drafted him to be a flex. If you drafted him as your RB2, then you may have to get some help and switch that up from the waiver wire. But he is going to be matchup dependent. However, that's how I saw him anyway. However, right. I think this is going to get better. And I think that they're going to have to rely on the run game because of this atrocious offense, like I mentioned before, and because Mac Jones is now dealing with this back injury, whatever spasms they are. I hope he feels better because that just stinks. But yeah, I think they will start incorporating the run a little bit more. I think hopefully they figure out who the hell is going to be the offensive coordinator actually for that offense to kind of get a little bit of defensiveness going and maybe a little bit of momentum. But I think this is going to even itself back out to that sort of timeshare 50-50 split where they each kind of have their own identity there. But I'm not going to write him off just yet, but I am going to make sure that I look darn close at those matchups that he's facing before I put him in my lineup.
So Nathan actually got what I was going. I didn't do the full voice. So like I can't do it 100%, but he kind of got where I was. Do you want to ask the question again? Ask who the Patriots are playing in week 2.
Who are the Patriots playing?
It doesn't matter who the Patriots are playing in week 2.
Jesus.
I can't do the Rock's voice 100%, but
I think I'm deaf now.
What?
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Of the other worry running backs I have, Jacobs, Dameon Pierce, who we already talked about, Alvin Kamara, who is dealing with an injury, but supposedly shouldn't be too bad for week 2. Taysom Hill got 4 rushes with that big one and a touchdown, which annoyed the living hell out of everybody. But again, apparently it was injury related. So Jacobs, Pierce, Kamara, and ETN with the James Robinson use. Now, Grant, for everybody out there that didn't see, ETN was actually getting more snaps than Robinson until halftime, right around when he fumbled right before halftime, I think it was. And then the second half, it reversed course. It was 20 to about 12 in the second half. So of those 4, who do you have the most worry for?
Geez. Well, I'm very excited because these are all the worries that I knew that were going to happen heading into the season. It's almost like I know what I'm talking about. Don't worry, it's week 1.
No, you
I'm sure
don't.
that'll change. It's fantasy football. It's educated guessing. The one that I have the biggest worry about that I knew was going to have issues is Josh Jacobs. You can trade him now. Get rid of him. Be done with your life. It is only a not your life. Be done with his fantasy life. That sounds too morbid. It's only a matter of time.
Lauren's not a proponent for suicide.
I know. I am not. I swear to God, that misspoke. Zamir White is going to start taking over for Josh Jacobs. He's going to become Mr. Irrelevant. I would try to offload Josh Jacobs when you can. He's the biggest one for me. Dameon Pierce, I'm not worried. I think that situation will sort itself out eventually, but we already spoke about that. Kamari's got a rib issue. He'll be okay. Just give him some time. ETN kind of figured this was going to happen, but it's going to be a very similar situation we have with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. James Robinson is going to get the goal line work. And if ETN messes up, Doug Peterson does not care. He's going to give it to somebody else because he's Doug Peterson. So ETN will still be involved. He needs to stop dropping passes. Trevor Lawrence has to stop overthrowing him. And once they get that chemistry back going, I think he's going to be okay. But I think James Robinson's still going to be a thing.
I liked ETN as an RB2 just because the Achilles. I was like, hey, we're all sitting here.
I was not about that life.
Like the Cam Akers and Sterling Shepherds, and then people are like, oh, James Robinson's gonna be fine. I'm like, wait, what? Why is it him but nobody else? Mm-hmm. Clearly, again, the Achilles was wrong. But I know. But what I said in my ETN love is an RB2, and I have ETN about 20. He was a low end RB2. My proponent for him is in Doug Peterson's offense as the pass catcher, as in a timeshare running back. It'll be Robinson and ETN the rest of the way.
Yep.
Is worst case scenario is an RB3. And I think that's what we're looking at going forward. So by the way, stepmom Lauren's what life advice? Just wow, that's as you can see, really.
That was a good one.
That was a long one. All right, let's go back to waivers real quick at wide receiver. These kind of have some similarities. One of them is a rookie, so a little bit different. It's the other rookie from Green Bay. But of these 5, who do you prefer? Sterling Shepard, off that Achilles, looks good. That's the number 1. By the way, we're going to get the drops here in a second. I think he has a teammate in the drops. Michael Gallup coming back. Treylon Burks, who was way a distant third. Long-term play there. I like Treylon Burks. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who was out there. He was the number 2 ahead of Hardman. Or Romeo Doubs.
I'm going to go.
Sorry. I still want to say Doubs.
I'm going to go Marquez Valdes-Scantling for the upside play. I think he's going to be your big play guy, but he's a little bit more boomer bust. Again, dependent on team needs. And I think if you're going to pick up Sterling Shepard, you might as well get as much usage out of him now as you can before he eventually gets hurt. So you need a PPR monster with a little bit lower upside. I would go Sterling Shepard. You need somebody that is going to give you some home run weeks, also some bust weeks. I would go Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He actually, I'm impressed with how he looks with Patrick Mahomes. I know Aaron Rodgers is, MVP caliber quarterback, but there's just seems to be so much more comfort in the Kansas City Chiefs offense than I feel that he had in Green Bay, which may have contributed to a lot of his dropsies that he had on real big plays, like that you wouldn't know, Christian Watson. But yeah, I think where he's trending in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. So out of those two, I would even go a little bit higher on MVS, but it depends on what your team needs.
So I like Brock's question, how long do we hold on to Nico Collins over these guys? So I preach patience. I said Nico Collins, Traylon Burks, Alec Pierce, who did essentially nothing. Like who else? I'm trying to think. Like Rondell Moore coming back. He might have got Wally pipped by Greg Dortch. Garrett Wilson, like all these kind of guys. Patience. You didn't draft him, but when you have somebody for like, I'd say Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I could see making this swap. And also depends on your waivers, which, see what's on your waivers too, evaluate. So the reason for everybody that saw my projections and while I had this, and this helped Dom, who does the hockey, is the VORP, is value over replacement player. Basically, it's trying to estimate what is the replacement player on waivers. And then if you can find said replacement player on waivers, is there a big difference between them? If not, you can go ahead and drop them. If there is, then make the swap. Like Nico Collins, like let's say your waiver is filled with even lower than that of Mecole Hardmans and DeAndre Carters and people like that. Then just hold Nico Collins because Nico Collins' upside is top 25. Those kind of guys.
Don't chase DeAndre Carter's points, people.
Oh yes, 100%. Or if you're playing in Rushman's league where you have 50 to 100 of these players on your way, really try playing in something bigger than a 2-team league. Then if you have 50 to 100 of the players, like 50 to 100, get out of here with your hyperbole on my show. Dumpsville, make a case to keep any of these, and you can say no, I don't want to keep any of them. Sammy Watkins, I just mentioned it, you gone. Kenny Golladay, I said worth a 12th, 13th round pick just in case. Clearly, the case is not there. You gone. Marvin Jones. Zay Jones is now the number 2. You gone. Also replaceable on waiver wire. Devontae Parker. I don't want any Patriots. Also, you gone. Any of them. Not holding on to any of them?
Nope.
Okay. Then let's finish it off with some worries real quick. There are more worries in there I have these wide receivers and some tight ends. I mentioned Kyle Pitts and Irv Smith. Irv Smith is potentially the injury situation. Don't start him. Wait more week. Munt was actually out there running routes more than he was. But the wide receivers, who's the biggest worry for you so far? Amari Cooper seems obvious, so I'm not going to include him in. Adam Thielen, that new offense kind of left him out of the equation. Darnell Mooney, the weather. Robert Woods, we mentioned this last week. I said if Robert Woods is getting number 1 treatment by defenses, there's a little bit of concern until others pull the coverage off of him, and that's what happened. Adoree Jackson spent most of his time on Robert Woods. Or Mike Williams, who people seem to have forgotten that Mike Williams had like 6 pretty poor games last year. So I'm kind of making the case for you. You can't say Mike Williams.
No, he's like the most epic boomer bust player. Like, why are you worried? Did you honestly think he was going to come out and score 20 fantasy points? No, that's not Mike Williams. Like, whatever.
My lowest roster player is Kareem Hunt at 90%. Again, Rushman, play in a bigger league. Stop playing with 4 people from your work. Anyway, go ahead. Who's the most worried out of those?
Robert Woods.
Robert Woods.
Yeah, because I think his usage, because of where he is, and who he is as the wide receiver 1, he does need to have more volume, and I think people took him with a lot higher expectations of what it is that we saw. Other than that, I think this was week 1 weirdness. So I don't know how much more worry that I can really assign to any of these guys, because like we're talking about Darnell Mooney, the weather, that was just horrendous. But yeah, Robert Woods for me is the one that I have the most worry for. Not that I'm mission critical yet, but I'm keeping my eye on that usage. I'm keeping my eye on what defenses do, because if Treylon Burks suddenly does emerge and become a thing, then I think Robert Woods is going to be okay. But he can't be the only one.
All right, fair enough. I have a little bit more hope for, I think, where was the comment? Somebody said similarly, Brock said Burks will help Woods, but I think, Burks has to get to the second level.
To get there. Second
position for that to happen. So I see there's a lot more questions. Reminder to enter the contest. Rush, stating facts. I'm stating facts too. Playing a better league. Your league sucks. Your league is trash. So playing a better one. Go to FTN, code ALLIN, get you 20% off. Reminder how to enter the contest, 3 screenshots of all 3 things, and email me. Don't tweet. I don't want to miss your entry. If you tweet me, sorry, I'm seriously trying to help you with all these things. I'll be back tomorrow to talk week 2 rankings, debates, and all that kind of good stuff. And we'll see you tomorrow. Band Kickers, yay!
Whee!